The recording wasn't even on. Anyway, I was on a little bit ago, or like probably like 2 or 3 minutes ago. I had to get something for my dog. He was eating something on the ground. But I'm touching on the Enzo Fernandez crap today and just a lot of the stuff that's come out about his leadership and why we can't let this be a distraction to what's really going on at the club. And there's people still on this platform that I'm on right now on Twitter that are just attacking the guy because of his leadership now. Like Blue Co is giving these guys more ammunition to just shit on this guy, right? Now, he's not making himself look good by continuously saying he wants to go to Madrid. That's not a good look, bro. Like you're the vice captain of the club. So I can see why certain players, right? If we pull over to Twitter, right? We pull over here, we pull this up. Some players have been left unimpressed by Enzo Fernandez's behavior in recent weeks. The club's vice captain has berated his own teammates publicly and plunged his future in doubt during a run of 4 consecutive losses. Defeats, right? And then if we pull over to the actual story here, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. um, I don't. I'm not subscribed to the Telegraph, but we'll read a little bit of it. Chelsea players have been left unimpressed by Enzo Fernandez's leadership during the club's drastic slump in form. The Argentine midfielder, who is vice captain, you guys are jackasses, aren't you? Huh? Essentially, bro, what this article is saying is that a lot of his teammates aren't happy with his, you know, his leadership style, what he's been doing in the media, which I'm not a fan of him just publicly twerking for Real Madrid. But when the club is in the state that it's in, of course he's going to want to leave. Of course he's going to be trying to fish for a move out. Why wouldn't he? Mark Cucurella is essentially almost doing the same thing, except his comments were a bit different. His were maybe a little bit more on down the line. We can talk about a move to Barcelona, but right now, I'm more focused on trying to get this team into the Champions League. I'm trying to get this team to actually compete again. Enzo's just saying, I want to live in Spain. It reminds me of home. My dream is to play for Real Madrid. I mean, there's two different answers there, but the problem with what Enzo is doing is that you expect better from him. And the maturity you expect from a player that's the vice captain of a football club, you're supposed to be saying, yeah, maybe one day I would like to be in Madrid, but right now my focus is at Chelsea because we still have something to fight for. That's generally what vice captains and captains are going to say. Mark Cucurella said that perfectly. Enzo Fernandez isn't doing that, and that's my only problem with him right now is how you're publicly just going out there and saying, "Yeah, bro, like I want to go to Madrid." You're still on the contract at Chelsea, bro. And quite honestly, man, you are. Where's the post at? Actually, let's pull over here real quick because the clown's birthday was yesterday, right? CFC, JNR, everyone knows an absolute clown. What's so funny about you lot who love Enzo Fernandez is you lot say, but how do we replace his goals and assists as as if he's a 10 or some attacker? No talk about what he offers as a central midfielder because he offers Chelsea zeros. Just sign a left winger who scores and assists, then fixes your midfield with someone who can actually move. Elliot Anderson has created just 3 less chances in the league than his maestro, than this what was that? Maestro? I'm barely waking up. Maestro passer, apparently. And he plays for Forest, fighting relegation, and runs the most and dribbles and wins duels in the air and ground on top of his passing. You Chelsea fans accept his mediocrity, are part of the problem, and put him on a level where he doesn't belong. I'm going to be honest, bro. I'm not going to read all this dribble because you don't make any sense, bro. You can't believe we sold Kieran Dewsbury Hall and kept this no good player. Dewsbury Hall is at the level that he's at Everton. That's his level. What do you mean? That's what I'm saying. Sign a left winger was how we ended up with Gittins and Garnacho. God forbid if you still support this shitty management. I mean, this guy is blue co in, bro. Because we can pull up stats for Enzo Fernandez if you really want to go there, because people want to keep saying that the guy isn't a good central midfielder, which is ridiculous, bro. Like I said, this guy CFC JNR, man. Did Enzo fuck your girl or something, dude? Like, what did he do to you? I'm not a fan of what he's doing publicly saying I want to be in Madrid. But if we're looking at his ranks this season within the Chelsea ranks, the dude has the third, and these are Premier League rankings, right? He has 8 goals in the league this season, right? He has 3 assists. Would you expect more out of him if the strikers we had were actually finishing off chances and the wingers were actually and Pedro Neto, Garnacho, and all these players were finishing off chances? He would probably have more than 3 assists in the Premier League. That's just my opinion. Goal contributions 11, meaning he's one of the sole creators in the Premier League for us. A lot of the attack goes through him. How many times this season have we seen him put balls into the box or play those line breaking passes, and you just see wayward efforts? Beautiful chips into the box, and you got Pedro Neto not even hitting the fucking target. I mean, this is the stuff that we're talking about here. He's created 10 big chances. Chances created 54. So he's creating the most chances in the team for us. And we're not putting the ball in the back of the net. We haven't scored in 3 straight games. And he's the reason we got 2 goals against PSG in the first place. He's played the most minutes in the squad too, but nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about what he's saying. Oh, I want to go to Real Madrid. I want to sit here and talk about he has a bad pass in the game and we overanalyze that pass rather than what he's doing in the rest of the game. Do I think he leaves in the summer? Yes, because I just think that he's tired of the bullshit at the club. And selling him, who do you guys go and get? Everyone's talking about Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton. Who do you go get, bro? Honestly, there's a reason why Forest are 17th. There's a reason why Palace are, 15th? Those two are the standout players in their squads, but are they ready for that jump? We saw Liam Delap not ready to make that jump. And people were hyping him up big time before he even got signed over here. 12 goals for Ipswich for a relegation team. You know, could he take that next step at Chelsea? No, he can't. Because Ipswich to Chelsea is too big of a jump. If he would have went to West Ham, if he would have went to a Bournemouth, right? You would have probably seen a better season out of Liam Delap, but he's not cut out to be at Chelsea. And you send Nicholas Jackson on loan to sign a guy essentially for the same price, and he hasn't done anything. People really need to wake up and smell the fucking roses out here, bro. Because this guy right here is one of the main reasons why this club will continue to go south. If we're gonna sit here and continuously attack these players, then I don't know what to tell you guys. Like you're giving me options like Elliot Anderson. He's nice, he's good, but he's not gonna be an upgrade over Enzo Fernandez, bro. I agree. Go sign a left winger. This is what they've been needing for the past since Eden Hazard left, bro. On the left wing, you have your right winger situated. Hopefully, Esteval stays. But why would he want to stay 5, 6, 7, 8 years if the club is being ran like this? You don't think a Barcelona or a Real Madrid will come knocking at his door in 2 seasons? Especially if Chelsea are in the same position? Come on, bro. Come on, man. These players aren't stupid, and they figured out the model. Enzo and Cucurella were one of the first 2 players that were signed as part of the project to take this team forward. and you're in the same position you're in, you're 6 places higher in the table, and you've done nothing but shoot yourselves in the foot for 4 years. You're signing inexperienced players. You're not bringing in players of quality because you don't want them to start running the show in the dressing room. You want some type of control in there. That's not how it works. And a lot of these players at the squad want to sit here and get pressed about how Enzo Fernandez is getting on them about the results, about their efforts in the game. He has every right to do that because he's one of the only players out there that's actually giving a fuck. He's one of the only few. He's having a better season than everyone's golden child in midfield, Moises Caicedo. And I love me some Moises Caicedo, bro. I got his jersey. I think he's the best defensive midfielder in the world when he's in form. But Enzo Fernandez is having a better season than Moises Caicedo, and nobody could tell me otherwise. Moises Caicedo had a good first half of the season, but up until that Arsenal game, when he got sent off, we're still looking for him. Yes, he's had some good moments in games, but where's that 90-minute version of him that people were saying was better than Declan Rice? But that wasn't even really the real comparison that everybody needs to be talking about. The real comparison is Enzo versus Declan Rice. It's never been Caicedo versus Rice. They play two different positions, in my opinion. Because Declan Rice can play that box-to-box midfield, but can also play at the 6 if it's needed. But I see Declan Rice for England as a number 8. That's just me. I would like to see him in that position because I think he actually is a very good midfielder, and it does make you wonder, should they have gone in for him instead of Enzo? I mean, at the end of the day, you sign Enzo thinking that he's going to take this team forward, but you need to build the right team around him, bro. And you've been signing young players, you've been signing some decent players. You've signed Palmer, you've signed Caicedo, you've signed Esteban, you've signed, who else have we signed? João Pedro, right? Like, you've signed decent players of quality in your team, man. Cucurella, right? Like, you've signed decent players, but now you just need to go get those proven players into this squad. And then you can't tell me that Chelsea wouldn't be safely and secure in the top 4. Could you imagine if this ownership had just listened to what Enzo Maresca wanted? I need a center back, an elite goalkeeper, and maybe one more attacker. And then I think I have a squad that is capable of challenging on all fronts. But they don't want to do that. Why? Because, we have this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. You have like 9 center backs in your fucking squad, bro. But none of them, I think, are really over the age of 25, except for Tosin. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, there's no experience in the squad, and it's gonna lead to, honestly, this next part right here, where it's Jason Cundy. Everyone knows who Jason Cundy is. I'm Jason, right? But I'm not Jason Cundy. I'm not saying stupid shit like this. Right now, you are part of the problem, Cucurella. We are where we are in the performances. Your levels have dropped. Has his levels dropped? Yes. But is that his fault? Is he the actual problem at the club? No. It's you saying stuff like this. If you got former players like him saying that the players are starting to become the problem, then my man, this is why people think that you're part of the Blue Co payroll. What an absolute idiotic thing to say. And you have the platform of Talk Sport, bro, and you're just over here saying stupid shit. This is what bothers me. People that have these platforms like this, that have played the game, are allowed to just say stupid shit like this all the time, dude. And like, I'm getting tired of it because I feel like I'm saying some real shit when it comes to what's going on at the club, and I don't even live anywhere near London, bro. I get all my information on Twitter, what I see on TV, what I see on YouTube, and then I form my own opinion off of what I'm seeing. And if people don't agree with it, I can care less. Because at the end of the day, my opinion is what I feel like matters. And I'm open to listening to what people have to say. But I just want people to know that how I feel about things is how I feel about things. Unless I see facts change in front of me, then I'll make a change on how I feel about shit. But Jason Cundy, you're a fucking dumbass, bro. This has nothing to do with Cucurella. The problem is the ownership, and if you're not seeing that, my bro, just stay off of Talk Sport because you're gonna continuously make yourself look like an idiot, man. You really are. Like you really, really are. Right. And I'm interested to see what people are saying here, right? Because yeah. Jason Cundy that does commentary for the CFC channel, what were you expecting him to say? I mean, right. I mean, the level dropped because they sacked the coach who got the best out of them and brought in a clueless one. The coach that was bringing in the identity, that brought the identity to this team, and now all of a sudden it's nowhere to be found. People need to stop blaming these players, bro. They really do. Heads actually spinning. Guys are trying to justify this guy going on a press tour, pushing for a move to Madrid. That is apparently standards. What are you talking about, bro? Nobody is happy that he's doing this shit. But at the end of the day, you're missing the big picture, bro. Again, like just like everybody else that is questioned, that is getting on him about talking about Real Madrid. I commented on Alex Goldberg's shit yesterday. I'm like, bro, he's not gonna be saying these things if Chelsea were still in the Champions League, had experience in this squad, and were competing and were winning, and didn't change the fucking manager because these owners balls shrank when Enzo Maresca actually said some shit about what's going on at the club upstairs. The guy said, I'm not getting help from the people above me. You're only talking about one specific person or a specific group of people. So them changing managers like that is absolutely criminal to do in the middle of the season, especially with the young team that was, like I keep saying, was getting the identity built and had a certain way of playing. It didn't matter if it didn't work or it worked. They kept playing that style and they stuck to it. That's what teams have to do to build the identity in a Premier League to really be consistent. And the problem is you want to make a change because he's coming out and having a backbone and a pair of balls between his legs because he wants certain players in the squad because he feels like he's not that far away from actually competing for the Premier League. Because realistically, if you get 3 or 4 senior players in this squad, I don't think Chelsea are that far off. But they're far off because this ownership is not going to change their fucking model. They just won't. And this is what I keep saying: the 18th, bro, Man United game. People got to show up and show out and voice, bro. Like my theory and my prediction is after this protest and the ones that follow, these owners, investors are gonna pull out, and they're gonna end up looking to sell in the summer. And that's what I'm saying. If there's any buyers out there, billionaires, anybody, consortium groups that actually care about football, buy this club. Bring it back to the days where they were just year in, year out, Champions League, winning silverware. Bring back the good vibes at the bridge. Give me a reason to travel 5,000 miles and spend this money to go out to London. Give me a reason, because right now I don't have a reason to go. Like, I really don't. And I want to go so damn bad. It's one of the things on my bucket list I must do before I pass away is go to Stamford Bridge and watch a game there. But in the state that this club is in, I'd be wasting 7, 8, 9,000 bucks, bro. Honestly, I really would. So no, I'm not going to sit there and contribute any money to this team and until either the ownership changes or they honestly just say, you know what, we're tired of how the model is going, blah blah blah. We'll go ahead and bring in some 5 or 6 experienced players, but bro, it's already too late. You should have done this realistically, man. And a lot of people have been saying this. After the Club World Cup is when you should have went after your Victor Osimhen's. And if you still want to sign João Pedro, you can sign your João Pedro's, bro. Like this was last summer window was the window that you needed to go out there and get the players to take it to the next level, because Chelsea were as hot as they've ever been at that point as a destination for players to go to. You had the Champions League. You're fresh off winning the Club World Cup. The feel-good vibes are there. You're playing with Cole Palmer. You're going to be playing with Esteval Enzo Fernandez, World Cup winner, right? But how far it went south, how far it went south. And I'm not blaming this specific player for the change in form, but since Caicedo got sent off against Arsenal, this team hasn't been the same. And when Enzo Maresca got sacked, this team was officially put in the depths of hell, and they're struggling to find a way out. And it's sad because I feel like this fan base really wants to get behind this team because people love the Eden Hazard era of Chelsea, the Drogba, the Lampard, the John Terry era, all that stuff, right? The late '90s, all that. But I feel like with this squad of players, and I could be wrong, and I want to be told I'm wrong if I am about this. I feel like these fans want to get behind these players so bad because they're young players and they see the potential they have, and they just want to see them win because when this team, I just feel like it's different. When this team is actually playing well and they're scoring goals and they're getting stuck in and they're putting in challenges and they're actually playing the football they know how to play, they're an absolute joy to watch. Like they're an absolute treat to watch because when Palmer is on, when you got Esteban on, and like I'm getting overstimulated talking about this shit because I want to see this team play well, bro. Like I really, really do. And when they're clicking and when they're on all cylinders, it is so great to watch. It makes me smile and it makes a lot of other Chelsea fans smile too, because when their team is playing well, what's going to really stop you from thinking optimistically of what this team could actually do? So, I mean, I just think let's see if Maresca tells City to use 100 million to sign his beloved Enzo Fernandez. I mean, he made him a much better player, bro. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys, had to respond to that message real quick. So it says, let's see if Maresca tells City to use his 100 millions to sign his beloved Enzo Fernandez, or if they go for Elliot Anderson. I think they're gonna go after Elliot Anderson, bro. They're gonna go after your boy because you're hyping him up so much, right? So he must be good enough to go to Man City. But I saw a clip yesterday where he was in that, I think it was that challenge with Japan where it's Kobe Mainu, him, and Cole Palmer, and Enzo Fernandez just gets thrown in there. Like this is why Enzo and Cole can't play in the same lineup. I'm like, how does Enzo Fernandez even fit into this conversation when he's not even English? You have an agenda, bro. Like I said, Enzo must have fucked your girl or something, bro, because there's no shot that you're this pressed over a guy, man, over him. Honestly, I'm actually interested in reading this because him being American and me being American, I feel like there is like we see like there's a perspective that he has that I can kind of relate with, I guess. I've been so out of the Chelsea social media world lately due to personal stuff that I wanted to quickly say I don't like how Enzo has been going about things right now, especially as vice captain. But with that said, I don't blame him for his frustration, and I like that he has ambition. He won a World Cup years ago and clearly wants to keep winning big titles, which is the mindset I'd want from all of our players. And if the guys upstairs don't change how they're doing things, more players will follow Enzo's path. That they just might not go about it the same way he is. At the end of the day, we wouldn't be talking about Enzo's quotes or Cucure's, which I loved, right? Because the way that he said it was, if they came knocking, it would be hard to say no. But right now, my focus is at Chelsea. That's what you're supposed to be saying, right? If the people running at this club were running it better when assessing a problem, look at the constant. I mean, honestly, bro, he's right. It's really this right here that we should be touching on is that he's won the World Cup. He was a big part in Argentina winning the World Cup. Him and Alexis McAllister were running the midfield at that World Cup, man. Right? A younger version of him, right? 4 years younger. He was what, 21, 21 years old? So the guy has won silverware. He won last 2 pieces of silverware last season. So we're not going to pretend like he hasn't won anything. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just feel like a lot of the criticism of him is just getting insanely out of hand, dude. The only thing that I have an issue with, and it's like a lot of people should be having an issue with, is how he is going about publicly talking about his future. That's the thing that I have a problem with. But everything else, his play on the pitch, his leadership, honestly, which a lot of the players in that dressing room need to grow a pair of balls, bro. And I have a pretty good idea on who the fuck is getting pressed about that kind of shit. It's the players that don't want to win. It's the players that aren't good enough to be at the club. To say that he's not good enough to be at the club is wild because this club has only, in my opinion, 6 or 7 quality players. When you should have a first 11 of quality. And maybe 3 or 4, 5 players on the bench that have some good quality on the bench, and then maybe 2 or 3 to just have there, right? Maybe a couple like a academy graduates, but Chelsea only have 6 or 7 players of quality. And you wonder why their form has dropped off significantly? Because the rest of the team around them just aren't good enough. They just aren't good enough. And they never will be. When Enzo doesn't score, they will say he's useless in the game. When he does score, they will say his role is to control the game. You people don't deserve it. I mean, people move the goalposts with this motherfucker all the time, bro. All the time. I'd be interested to see the PSG tweets in the first leg to see how many people were actually talking shit about him during that game because he was honestly probably one of the 3 or 4 best players on the pitch in that game. The goal and the assist. And we haven't scored since. We didn't score against Newcastle. We didn't score against PSG. And we didn't score against Everton. That has everything to do with Enzo Fernandez. Now, he's responsible for one of the goals in that game against Everton, sure. But outside of that, the rest of the team is just dog shit, dude. That includes England's golden boy Cole Palmer. I mean, he's been dog shit too, bro. Like if we're gonna keep it a buck, has Cole Palmer been good at all? This is what I'm saying. Like people need to start looking at the other players in the squad, bro. Not just looking at an easy target, bro. Like it's wild, man. I just think the criticism needs to be taken down a notch a little bit, bro. Cole Palmer, yes, we can have the conversation about him because even in the game against Japan a few days ago, he doesn't look like himself. He had a good little cameo against Uruguay last week, but He's still missing in action, bro. There's an ATB out for Cole Palmer. Like, where is he? Like, we're all looking for him, right? I don't want to hear about his injuries anymore. We're in April. He came back in January. People can blame the manager, and honestly, Lee Mancini has a little bit to do with Cole Palmer's form. But at the end of the day, the standards he set in his first couple seasons at the club, I'm sorry, bro. You have to be better than what you're producing out there. This is the same guy that in his first season was able to produce something out of nothing more often than not. More often than not, he was producing something out of nothing. Now, the problem that he's going to have is that he also has a World Cup spot on the line too, I believe. He's not guaranteed a World Cup spot. Neither is Phil Foden, and we saw that earlier. But is Cole Palmer going to realistically miss the World Cup? No. He's not missing the World Cup, bro. He's going to end up going, but I'm telling you, it's going to be by the skin of his teeth. By the skin of his fucking teeth, man. Enzo Fernandez isn't worth 100 million unless Argentina wins the World Cup again. Nottingham are asking 100 million for Anderson or Palace for. I mean, Adam Wharton is an interesting one because you can make the argument he probably is close. I think Adam Wharton is about 80 million. I think if you want to get him because he's English, it's in the Premier League, and he's going to a Premier League team, and there's an English tax, he's going to be worth about 80 million. Elliot Anderson, honestly, I can understand the hype, but he's not worth 100 million to me. He just isn't. And anybody saying he is I don't know, man. You guys are crazy. Yeah. I agree with that message. I'm not gonna obviously say it on stream, but he wasn't worth 100 million when we bought him. No, but who here thinks he's worth over 100 million? I mean, honestly, bro, Chelsea are gonna ask for close to 130. But are they gonna sell him for 130? No, because if he wants to leave, Enzo's got to push for it. And I think if Real Madrid do come in, it's gonna be for under 100 million. At this point now, if he pushes for the move and Chelsea start the bidding at 130, it's going to continue to drop. I've said in my other shorts and other streams that he's going to go for over 100 million or over 110 because Chelsea want to try to make some type of money off of it. But realistically, if Enzo pushes for the move and keeps pushing for the move and is publicly saying that, Chelsea are going to look to just get him for whatever price they can get him to get him off the books. And it's going to be a bargain for them. It's going to be a bargain. You pay about 85 million for Enzo Fernandez, and he still has 6 years left on his contract, bro. I mean, it would be a bargain. It would be an absolute bargain. But he's not gonna. I don't realistically think. I think he leaves in the summer if Real Madrid come in, but this is where it gets tricky, and I might be contradicting myself. I don't know, and like quite honestly, I'm in limbo over this because I don't want Enzo to leave because I feel like it would be harder to replace him and to find his specific profile. Right? You can find other eights in the world and insert them into this team, and I think we'll be just fine. But specifically for Enzo, like I feel like his profile is just a little bit different. And you selling that because he's coming out and publicly saying, I want to be somewhere else. And then he's berating teammates in the locker room because he has ambitions to win. And it feels like some of these players don't give a fuck. And it really feels that way. Like we can name the players. We can name a lot of these players that look like they just don't care. The main one is a center half. And we all know who we're talking about here. The Frenchman. Like, Wes, man, I'm gonna tell you this. If you want to talk about a waste of 60 million, that is the perfect example of wasted money. Fofana to me is one of the I don't even know how to really say this. He's one of the worst signings we've had in the past 10 years. And we've had some pretty horrendous signings. A lot of people will say that he's a good center half on his day, and he is. He's decent. My problem with him is it's up here. And the lack of accountability he has. And the jogging we're seeing on the pitch when Chelsea are getting hit on the counters. And it's why Reece James is on the sidelines right now. Do you understand that when he made that 40-yard dash back against Newcastle, that's when I believe he got hurt. And he played through that injury because he knows he can't afford to go down. Reece James, bro. The guy's had 10 hamstring injuries. That's unacceptable. Why do you think Enzo Maresca was saying you need to protect this man? Thomas Tuchel was saying the same thing. Every manager, even Graham Potter, a guy that has now taken Sweden to the World Cup, a guy that I heard in the commentary when I was watching the highlights, Graham Potter has instilled belief into this Sweden team. When have we ever heard people talk about Graham Potter and belief in the same sentence? Like, can we start putting two and two together here, guys? You got Mauricio Pochettino is not doing well with the U.S. right now, honestly. And as a United States fan, I can't wait for him to leave. The Spurs job isn't there anymore, but I will say this. He needs to take a sabbatical for a little bit because this U.S. job is stressing him out. And if the Spurs job was available, he would probably stress out even more. It's not the same Tottenham that he left. What was it, 2021 or something like that? I forgot. But when he left, Tottenham haven't been the same. I mean, the guy took Tottenham to a Champions League final. We're laughing at that now, right? I mean, we could also laugh at Chelsea ever making the Champions League final right now. Like, that's the state that we're in, bro. Like, that's the state that we're in. But this team, bro, they got Port Vale on Saturday. I'll probably do a preview tomorrow on stream, just talking about, like, is there anything to really look forward to in that game? I said, Chelsea, don't you fucking dare find a way to lose that game at the bridge. Don't do it, because that protest might start earlier than the 18th. You'll see riots outside of the damn stadium. I'm like outside of the bridge. I promise you. I'm not even from there. But I can sense the vibes already. You find a way to get knocked out of the FA Cup to Port Vale with the trip to Wembley on the line, bro. You want to talk about heads are going to start rolling. Heads are going to start rolling, and they should. You expect to not get anything against Man City, and at this point, you're not expecting to get anything against Manchester United. Then we go to Brighton, where we've got ripped apart last season both times. And then you got Forest, who need the points to stay up. Then Liverpool at Anfield, where they're fighting for a Champions League spot, but they've been having a really weird season too. You got Spurs at the bridge, the last home game of the season, where you have a chance to relegate Tottenham. Tottenham never win at the bridge, but but you couldn't tell me that they wouldn't find a way to get some type of points out of that with how we're playing. You think I want to say that Tottenham can find a way to get points at the bridge to stay up? It's crazy, bro. And then you go to the Stadium of Light at the end of the season, where Sunderland have had a very good season coming up from the Championship, and they're back in the Premier League. It's great to see that, and they might finish above Newcastle too, which would be insane. They did the double over Newcastle, which is insane, right? So I mean, the way that I'm looking at it, Chelsea are in a world of trouble. I said their final point total will be around 57 points, and I'm gonna stick to that because I just don't see a world where they're gonna pick up form all of a sudden. Last season, yes, they last season they definitely turned their season around against Fulham. That's great. But they don't have the same belief that they had last year or last season at this point. On 420, a holiday I fuck with, right? Like on 420, they were down 1-0 against Fulham. Tyreek George and Pedro Neto essentially save our season. Pedro Neto specifically with that fantastic volley. And there's a clip on this platform of the celebrations and the fans in the background are everything. It's like I said, bro. I pay attention to the fan reactions in the background because it's everything, dude. It's absolutely everything, and it's what brings the feel good vibes, bro, back to the club. Like as long as the club itself, let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, could we talk about this too? Italy missing the World Cup again, bro. Insane shit, man. But looking at this shit, man, Chelsea, I mean, where do I see them if I'm being a delusional fan right now, right? And I do I'll put that cap on for a second, even though I'm already wearing a hat. Chelsea, do I think they'll win all these games? No. If they figure it out and they find a way to figure it out, I think they can win these 4 out of these 7 games, which puts them on 60 points. But still, that may not be enough. Liam Rosenior at this point now has had 2 weeks away from this squad with everything that's come out, all the quotes, all the PR bullshit, all the drama, all that. We know that he's seen it all. And his next press conference is going to be a lot of questions about Enzo Fernandez, the comments that Mark Cucurella made, you know, comments the players made over the break. And does he have the pool to get these players to start playing for him? No, he doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. The Chelsea fans clamoring for Adam Warren know absolutely nothing about football and what the team needs. I don't think we need Adam Warren. Yeah. And then if we end up signing Adam Warren and then he doesn't start and then he doesn't play well, you guys are going to blame the ownership. Oh, you guys shouldn't have signed him for 80, 90 million. Yeah. So then why did you sell Enzo Fernandez? What does Adam Wharton won? And people want to pay 100 million for him. What has Adam Wharton won? What has he done in his career besides getting the jump from Blackburn to Crystal Palace, bro? And I'm not shitting on him. I think he's a really good player. But in terms of winning things, because this is what players are judged on. Nobody wants to talk about this, but players are judged on what trophies you've won. We do it out here in American sports all the time, bro. With the NBA, how many rings have you won? In baseball, the World Series, the NFL, the Super Bowl, bro. Like, we judge players based off of how many rings they won, how many MVPs they won, all that shit, bro. Like, I can dive into American sports, but the difference with this is that you're buying players for insane transfer fees. You generally see trading in American sports. You don't ever see players unless it's free agency and they sign like a 5-year deal for like 350 million or something, right? But you're paying transfer fees and then you're paying over like 8 or 9 years over that contract, man. But people saying Adam Wharton, bro, I understand that he's a good midfielder, but he's not the profile player we need in our team when we already have it. I think you desperately need to get somebody else because if Romeo Lavia can't stay healthy, you need another midfielder. So I would get somebody more of the Romeo Lavia profile than Adam. I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me, dude. Chelsea players have left unimpressed by the leadership. which has see like, and this is the part right here that we need to pay attention to, which has annoyed some teammates. Why are you getting annoyed with your vice captain calling you out for your performances, for how you're playing in the game, bro? I don't understand it. Chelsea qualified for the Champions League last season to beat Napoli to sign Garnacho. Man United want the Champions League battle with Man City in a race to sign Elliot Anderson. People laugh at Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe, but they are 1,000 times better than Clear. Like, I mean, that part is right. Enio, I mean, but this it could also just be being a prisoner of the moment with Manchester United playing the way that they're playing. If Man United all of a sudden tail off at the end of the season, the problems at Manchester United are going to be right front and center again. But I don't think Man United are going to drop off. I think Man United are going to continue to push on and probably just secure that third spot and maybe even catch Man City. You never know. They're playing that well, but I'd rather see Man United or Man City sign an Elliot Anderson. Why? Because Elliot Anderson would be really good at Manchester United, in my opinion. I think Elliot Anderson would struggle at Chelsea. I really do. But a lot of players would. If Chelsea get 90 or 100 million for Enzo, they shouldn't hesitate. My issue with Enzo isn't about the board, it's him yapping on. Even if Chelsea was thriving, he'd still force his way out. No, I disagree with that, bro. I feel like if Chelsea were competing for the Premier League and they were still in the Champions League, he's not yapping about leaving the Premier League to go to Real Madrid right now, at least, right? He's not saying anything about that, but he is 25 years old. He's about to hit the peak of his career, right? So maybe he wants that move to play his prime in Spain. But the problem is, bro, you're not doing it the right way. You can have shit move in silence in the background, but still have respect for the club that you're playing for. And right now, it doesn't feel like you're respecting the club at this current moment with what you're saying. But you're gonna have a lot of questions to answer about what you said. And honestly, you may have broken the trust between the fans and yourself. And that's something that I didn't want to see because honestly, I feel like he does genuinely love the club, but he's not going about this tour the right way. But another thing to consider here is that maybe he's doing this to get the contract he wants at the football club. But bro, this is still not the way that you do it. You just don't do it this way. Reece James is just a pussy, bro. Okay, so now we got to look at this. He's so timid as a captain. All he does is say he's happy to be at Chelsea, to be Chelsea captain because it was his dream, but he never talks to control the team or organize the defensive line. He waits until after the game to chat with old teammates who left for arch rivals. Yeah, dude, honestly, you sound like an absolute buffoon, dude. He's doing it different than Enzo because Enzo's out here just publicly twerking for them to come sign him. If Reece James were to come out and say, "Hey, man, like, you know what? Like, I want to go to Man City. I've always wanted to live in Manchester." I think Chelsea fans would have a problem with it. I think they absolutely would because it's your club captain, and then it's one of our own, right? And saying that, I think people would actually. I don't think people would have the same energy for Reece James if he said that because they would say that he understands. But because Enzo Fernandez isn't a Cobham boy or he's not English or whatever it is, right? I don't know what it is. I think the slander is ridiculous, but the way that he's going about trying to leave Chelsea is not the right way to do it. Bro, you just have to do this in silence. Like you have to do this in silence, bro. Because now you may have just cost yourself a move to Madrid on top of not even being able to get the contract that you're looking for because your dumbass wants to sit here and publicly twerk for a team that may not even come in for you. Anyone defending 8 is a C man. Wow. I just realized what I just said there. That's crazy. I didn't want to say that word, but then I didn't make it any better. Chelsea fans, who hurt you the most with his interview, Enzo or Cucurella? I'd probably say Enzo because you're the vice captain of the team, bro. It's not the comments about Enzo Maresca. It's the comments about wanting to live in Madrid. Those are the comments that are really bothersome, honestly, because it's just the way that you're doing it. Cole Palmer was rated for 4 out of 10 by goal against Japan. Afforded full creative license as a starting 10, but made very little consistently. Lost possession, cheaply gave the ball away, leading to Matoma's goal. Hook for Bowen. Where is he? People want to say that after that one game against Uruguay, oh, Cole Palmer's back. Here he is, this and that, bro. The being the prisoner of the moment is nuts, bro. Did you guys really think he was going to find his form at the international break? The guy is gone. He's shot. Mentally, he's done. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these players are mentally done, bro. What is the point of Lean Delap hitting all these shots in training under no pressure? Everyone knows that his first shot in a real match is going out of the stadium. Yeah. Like, he's not, like, any of these opportunities he gets right here, he's not putting in the back of the net. He just isn't. He's a shithouser, bro. He's not a center forward. If players see, look, this is what I'm saying here. If players have an issue with Enzo calling them out publicly, they should either improve or move on. Chelsea's identity was built on leaders like Terry, Drogba, Cech, Lampard, holding standards high. And Enzo is one of the closest things we have. If players are not allowed to hold them, if players are not allowed to hold other players accountable, the game is fucking gone. And the fans that have an issue with this are fucking soft, bro. You guys are soft as fuck, dude. Honestly, like you guys are just too soft. He had like, and we saw what happened, right? Against Jorgensen, right? With Jorgensen, threw the ball back at him. Like, what the fuck? Well, play the ball long. Why do you continuously play it into us when we're not open? Of course, he's going to be vocal about that. Why wouldn't he? But people want to say, "Oh, he's a fucking distraction in the fucking locker room." You know, he's not playing well. It's like, honestly, man, Jorgensen should have never been in goal against PSG at the Parc des Princes, and we all know that. It should have been Robert Sanchez. But even then, Robert Sanchez isn't making himself look great. Why? Liam Rosenior, he sits him down, puts in Jorgensen, realizes, oh shit, man, I made a fucking mistake. I should not have started Jorgensen at all. Now you completely shattered Robert Sanchez's confidence. That goal he conceded against Everton, I want to say this. I don't think he's conceding that if Enzo Maresca is still the manager. I don't believe that. Maresca made him a better goalkeeper, even though he wanted a goalkeeper in the summer. And so it says here he has a right to go on the pitch at Jorgensen away to PSG. We are all feeling the same. As for being vocal in the dressing room, also good. What's not good is him begging himself to go to Real Madrid. Yeah, that's the only thing that I have a problem with what he is doing. Can't watch that because they'll copyright me. Freaking stupid. But yeah, like, people really need to wake up and smell the roses, man. These players aren't the problem. Colwell injury, bad summer planning, bad run of form in December, Enzo Maresca leaving. Even where it says good form, we weren't really in good form, bro. We were just getting results. And like, this was supposed to be the season where you kick on from winning the Club World Cup. I had Chelsea, and it's going to sound crazy, I had Chelsea finishing in the top 2. I didn't have them winning the Premier League, but I had them finishing second. Why? Because in my head, I'm thinking this team, they have the manager in place, and they have certain players in these positions in place where they can probably go on and not win the title, but go on and make a run for it. Get in there and try to make a run in the Champions League, right? Win the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. One of those two competitions, right? I felt okay in doing that because based off of what I saw and based off of what a lot of other fans saw, top 4 was a given. Then they go on this form in the early part of the season where they look exceptional. Exceptional. Beating Liverpool, beating Tottenham, right? Beating all these teams. If we go to their fixture list, bro, like earlier in the season, it's crazy to me that a team that was really starting to become a force in the league, like it's insane, man. Like the fall off of this team is outrageous, and like I'm just failing to understand like how it can go south so quickly. But then again, we all know what happened. The change in manager. It's really, let me see here. Yeah, we had a bad month of a horrible month of September, and this is where Red Card FC really started to show its ugly head here. Or maybe it was the month before. No. See, we start off the season 0-0 against Palace. Then we go to West Ham, absolutely destroy them, right? Then we beat Fulham at the Bridge, right? That's not what I wanted to do, you motherfucker. Anyway. And then the Brentford game, I remember that game, Caicedo and Palmer scoring in that game. And then the following week, Manchester United versus Chelsea, where Robert Sanchez gets sent off. And for most of that game, once it got to 10v10, we were actually playing pretty well, but we still ended up losing that game. Then the atrocity against freaking Brighton at the Bridge, another red card, right? And that's where Red Card FC really started to show its ugly head, right? Then the famous 2-1 win at the Bridge against these lot. Esteval and Caicedo scoring in that game. Out, unreal game. Then we go to Forest where we get another red card. 3-0, bro. Right? It's like you look at the games that we're winning here, right? Spurs away, win. In November, we played so well. You can throw like the Barcelona game in there as well. This game right here, the 1-1, this is what people really need to start understanding. This is when this team completely lost itself. 3-1 away to Leeds, 0-0 to Bournemouth, 2-0 against Everton, sure, but we didn't play well in that game at all. 2-2 away to Newcastle. We were terrible in the first half. Reece James and João Pedro saved us on that day. Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins double, bro. 2 days after Christmas. Horrendous performance. Then you're up 2-0 against Bournemouth. You concede in that game. You drop points in that game, right? You somehow find a way to get a point against Man City. Then another red card against Fulham. 2-0 against Brentford, cool. 3-1 against them. Then you go on a run where you won 3 games in the league in a row. Cool. Awesome. Fantastic. What's gone on since that moment? 2 draws in February. 1 win in March against a struggling Aston Villa side. Then you don't score for 3 straight games after this. Like, these are the things that I'm fucking talking about here, man. Like, these are the things that I'm getting real tired of with this team, bro. He says Fofana is probably the top. Anderson is 100K is meant. It is mental, bro. Like, it's absolutely crazy. I don't like. Yeah, Enzo's not worth 100 I mean, I think to get the deal done, it's gonna take over 100 million, really. But are Real Madrid gonna really come in and do that? I don't think so. But if Enzo is gone in the summer, it's gonna be because Real Madrid are gonna end up paying over 100 million. Wesley Fofana, yeah, he's a joke, bro. I'm tired of Fofana is probably 10th choice in the France squad. He is, bro. I mean, he's not he's a good center half, but my problem with him, bro, is that he's lackadaisical as fuck. Lackadaisical, bro. And it's like Chelsea have had Chelsea have had legendary center halves in their setup. There's no reason why he should be anywhere near the first team. Given how he's played this season, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I'm just not really like the biggest fan of I, I'm just not the biggest fan of him. I think it was 60 million wasted. But I appreciate all the engagement, guys. I really do, man. Got about 8 people here. Got about 2 people over here. I haven't really checked my other stuff yet, but I appreciate everyone watching, man. I appreciate all the love and support, the comments and all that, man. What the fuck are we going to be doing with this club, bro? I mean, I just enjoy trying to have these conversations with everybody here, man, because I know people have a lot of opinions about what's going on at the club. I'm just trying to express mine. On Enzo interviews, Chelsea insiders are disappointed. The Argentine FA are supposed to recognize that the interview is the right one for their player, and outlets have the opportunity to quiz Fernandez on Chelsea, Madrid, and his future. I mean, but like, here's the problem with this, though, is that I kept saying this, that they're going to be asked questions now that they're away from the football club, and that's just the journalist's job at the end of the day. It's just their job. But like the Argentine FA, like, what do you want them to realistically do? The guy's going on different talk shows, and if he's aware of what because Enzo Fernandez is not a stupid motherfucker, bro. Like, come on. You really think he's going to be sitting here and talking about his future like this without him knowing that there's something going on behind the scenes? Of course he's going to be saying these things. One of two things is going to happen here. I said he's leaving in the summer because I think he's had enough. But this is how I know these owners are going to get desperate. If nobody pays over the 100 million for him, they're going to offer him a new contract with whatever he wants because they're going to bend over backwards for him. With everything he's saying, in my opinion, he's doing this to get better contract terms. But when you're saying you want to live in Madrid, bro, yeah, that's when, I do agree with the insiders that Chelsea should be upset that he's doing these things. But you guys put yourself in this position. That's your guys' fault. This is why other players, and if Cole Palmer was the guy to be coming out in these interviews and saying these things, I don't think people are having the same energy. I don't think they're having the same energy, bro. And I said this about Reece James too. We didn't have this energy for Marc Cucurella. Why is he the only one getting shit for it? We're speaking up about leadership. If he's just talking about his future in Real Madrid, we can have a problem with that. But what else has he said that was absolutely wrong when it comes to Enzo Maresca and about the identity that the team had and how he loved playing under him? You don't think if you're signing a player like him to be the face of the project, you want to get a manager in there that can actually be the co-face of the project, even though they have the same fucking name? They can be both the faces of the fucking project. You signed Enzo to be one of the core players. He was labeled untouchable at one point. Now all of a sudden, you're anything over 100 million, he's out the door. They're desperate. They're desperate. And if they don't sell him, they're going to offer him a new contract with improved salary terms, even if they don't get into the Champions League. Why? Because they want to maintain his value to get over that 100 million that they're going to be looking for when Real Madrid or PSG or another top European club comes in for him and pay over the 100 million. Say Argentina win the World Cup. You don't think his value jumps? His value jumped in that moment because Argentina won the World Cup and he won the young player of the tournament. And he was one of the best players in that tournament. So, like I said, bro, the slander, the disrespect, just the negativity that he is getting because of his leadership is crazy. But him speaking about Madrid, yes, we can all criticize him. We can all criticize him on that. Liam Rossini has a decision to make on whether he allows Enzo to continue donning the arm. I mean, honestly, I think he's lost the armband. In terms of talking about his future, yeah, he's lost the armband. But in terms of being a leader in the dressing room, no. I think he should still keep it. Vinicius would come nowhere near this club, bro. Stop it. Knock it off, man. Like these are the kind of things where it's just like, are we thinking about what we're posting before we actually post it? Like, we're not thinking about these things. We're just not. And what's the common denominator with all these players that he's listed here? They've all won silverware, and they're going to a team that generally is in the Champions League every season, and that is generally getting to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And that has the exposure worldwide that will improve Enzo Fernandez's marketing and also imaging rights, which is a huge thing in football. This is why Mason Mount went to Manchester United. A lot of it was over imaging rights. I think he wanted to stay, but something in the new contract, he went to Manchester United. And now you're looking at it now. Is he playing all the time? I don't really pay attention to Manchester United games. So I don't care for Mason Mount. You know, when he was here, I appreciate your service. You won us the Champions League. You got the assist to Kai Havertz that won us the Champions League. I'm forever grateful for that. But he's no longer a Chelsea boy anymore. Enzo Fernandez is Chelsea's vice captain, but Liam Rossini has the decision to make. Either he allows him to continue to don that armband or he does not. It would send a message if he decided to go down the ladder route. Loud and clear. If Liam Rossini grows a pair of balls, right, and takes the armband off of Enzo Fernandez, it is a statement of intent. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm running this team. You're not just going to go on international duty, go on these talk shows and talk about how you want to live in Madrid. Like, I want to see him have a backbone and do that shit. But is he going to do it? No, because these owners are probably telling him we can't risk Enzo getting more upset because we know he wants to leave in the summer, so we need to keep him as happy as possible. So there's a chance that we can talk to him about a new contract before he puts in a transfer request. When honestly, he's going to end up putting in a transfer request. He probably already did it. If we're being real. Like I said, selling Enzo would be the biggest mistake this club has made in a very long time. First summer Bluecoat, we were going for top players, mainly with Premier League experience, like Ake, Rice, Rafinha, Leao, under Todd Bowley. As interim sporting director, then it all changed. Clearlake and Agbalo took full control and got Badiashile, Enzo, Madueke, and Mudryk. Then Chelsea died. Chelsea died when these owners took control of the club to begin with. The club was already dead. Todd Bowley, yes, as interim sporting director, was looking at experienced players to bring into the squad because he took over a team that was removed from winning the Champions League a little over, 12 months? 12, 13 months prior. So this team was in a position where they had experience in the squad with a few young players that you add a bit more quality. And that season, Chelsea were expected to be in the top four and possibly trying to push on for a title because you still had Thomas Tuchel in charge. But they finished third the previous season. But to say that Chelsea died when Enzo and Mudryk got there, Mudryk isn't. I mean, look, man, Mikhailo Mudryk. I'm gonna keep saying this, and people can say what they want or whatever. He's better than what we have right now. Garnacho and Gittins are not the answers on the left hand side. I've said that if Mikhailo Mudryk is available and he's cleared from the ban, he should be the starting left winger. And tell me why he shouldn't. I want to hear from people watching. Why shouldn't Mudryk be given another chance in this squad? Honestly. Even though I've said we should go get an elite left winger, he should be your second option if you go do that. You need to sell Garnacho and Gittins in the summer. Gittins has been fighting injuries this second half of the season, but from what we've seen of him so far, when he's on the pitch, it just isn't good enough, right? And you need Chelsea have like when you think of a Chelsea left winger, the first person that comes to mind is Eden Hazard. Is there anybody that's going to do what Eden Hazard did when he came? He wasn't world class when he came. He became world class by playing at Chelsea, by being around the right players that added to his game, that improved his game, and he was able to take games by the scruff of the neck when it needed to get Chelsea 3 points, to get them a point if they were down. That's what he did. Chelsea don't have that guy right now. Esteval is the closest guy to being that electric winger that we need. We need somebody on the left. I made the argument that you have two pacey wingers a technical center forward that is clinical, and a creative genius in Cole Palmer with Enzo Fernandez just in behind that. You would have a vicious attack. But these owners aren't going to look to improve anywhere in the attacking lines as long as they are in charge. So I agree with he was going for top Premier League players with experience. It's like, and I've said Todd Bowley, in my opinion, really isn't the problem at the club. This is why he's taken a step back, because he knows what the problem is, because he sees it firsthand. He knows what the real issues are. But once Clearlake and Igbali took full control and he took a step back, yeah, that's when the club started to really go to shit. Maresca has already decided to sabotage Chelsea before the season before leaving. His line of decision-making errors were all intentional just to prove a point to the owners. If he stayed on, things wouldn't have been any different. He had sealed Chelsea's fate. What Chelsea have done is appoint an interim and hire a top coach next season. Rossini is not Chelsea standard, but don't lie on his head. What Chelsea have done is appoint an interim, but they're not going to go after a top coach next season, bro. So, like, what are you talking about? I swear, people don't think before they post. They don't think before they post. They really don't. Like, Enzo Maresca, I don't think Chelsea would be in 6th position if he was still the manager. Because they had the, like, even if they were in a bad run of form, they still had a certain way of playing, but they weren't getting torn apart almost every single fucking game, bro. They weren't getting ripped up. They were not. And nobody could tell me otherwise. You can't point to me. I mean, maybe there are a few results, sure. But outside of that, particularly in the second half of the season, and even in the beginning, and even in the Christmas, leading up to the Christmas period last season, Chelsea, I remember the commentary from John Champion, bro. Chelsea are flying higher than ever after taking the lead against Tottenham. And who scored the goal? Who scored the goal, bro? Wasn't it Enzo Fernandez? The guy who went like, yeah, here, screaming Chelsea, hella loud, right? Loud and clear. Players do that all the time. But the point is, they were exceptional during that part of the season. Why? Because Enzo Maresca was at that point at the beginning of instilling what he wanted from this team. A team that is able to fight back from 2-0 down and take the lead, able to get results, pull results out of the fucking bag, like the game against Fulham away at the Cottage, right? Like able to do those kind of things. Lee Messina doesn't have the capabilities to install that type of know-how into this team. He doesn't. Enzo Maresca was doing that. And I think when people start to really realize that and they stop looking at the players in this situation, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more progress in this fucking fan base. Chelsea first. So it says if the bus incident wasn't such an issue, which it was, why didn't the club call him up on and then? No accountability as usual. Now that Enzo said what he said, Chelsea are using this to point score. I mean, they're honestly just trying to save their asses at this point. Chelsea further protected Enzo after the Argentinian. I mean, when the Argentinian national team was singing some pretty messed up stuff about French players with African roots. Um, being half black myself, I wasn't a fan of that chant whatsoever. But you know, people make mistakes and you learn from them. So that's all I'm gonna say on it because talking about racism, bro, gets me really, really in a very dark spot that I do not like talking about because I just feel like racism should not be in any sport or any walks of life, bro. I mean, I think Lima Senior does need to take the armband off him now, just to send a message to him. I mean, bro, this was at the end of January. How do we go from loving the guy, from getting the game-winning goal against West Ham, taking his shirt off, hitting his chest, doing all this shit, right? How do we go from this to people wanting him out of the club? Enzo is right, by the way. Hold the standards high. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Hold them to the highest standard. Hold these players to a high standard. You've won the biggest prize in the sport. Hold your teammates accountable. You expect better, and you should, and you absolutely should expect better. This is Chelsea, not a stepping stone to another team. If your heart is already in Madrid, you shouldn't wear the blue jersey. I spoke on this yesterday, bro. I spoke on this yesterday. If the club wasn't shit, he's not speaking out, bro. He's not speaking out about going to Real Madrid or whatever. Right. So it's like I said, just see Real Madrid want Enzo, but only on their conditions. Real Madrid are going to get this guy on their conditions. It's not going to be what Chelsea wants. It's going to be what he wants. Because if they miss Champions League, and I've been saying this, Enzo pushes for the move. The fee is hoped to be a bit lower. It's not going to be 130 million, and it probably won't even be 110. It'll probably be just under 100 million. Why? Because he wants to move. Especially if Chelsea don't get the Champions League, he's going to get his move for under 100 million. But if they do get the Champions League and he still wants the move, it's going to be over 100 million. So we'll see. I wonder if this honestly would have to do with the point deduction that's looming over their heads right now. It wouldn't be a downgrade. Regardless of what Enzo has done, no one wants a clear downgrade. And I mean, Declan Rice is not a downgrade. Is this legit? Yeah, I kind of figured it'd be bigger news than that. So this is probably the last thing I'm going to get into because I got to get ready for work. I start at 11. But Manchester United will let Pep decide what he wants to do with his future, as reported since January. Enzo Maresca is the leading favorite candidate if Pep decides to leave, despite reports on company. City really appreciate Enzo Maresca. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a foregone conclusion that when he leaves, Enzo Maresca is going to be the guy that steps in charge and takes City to a new era. I mean, honestly, the first thing I would do in that press conference is give a big FU to like the Chelsea board. If he's gonna make a decision, let's see if you do it, bro. People calling Jason F. and Kunde a brown envelope. I've seen it all now. Stop letting your anger and rage decide your reactions and go learn some media literacy. People can love Chelsea and generally have different opinions to you without being paid off. Jesus Christ. I mean, nobody's saying that, but what we're saying again is that he's employed by Chelsea, bro. Like, do you not understand that he's one of the voices of at the club during games? So yeah, he's gonna say things that are gonna make the club look good. That's what PR is, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like you may need to learn some media literacy yourself, bro. Like it's ridiculous, man. The people on this app, dude. The people on this app is just crazy. Stop it. I would take him back in a heartbeat, but yeah. Yeah, I think it's over. Once you take the captain's armband off him, it's over, bro. That's when he's gonna really start getting reckless with his comments. But we'll see what happens. No, I'm not worried that he'll end up at Man City because it was always going to happen. Get the fuck out of the club. That's what I'm telling them. You met Blueco now. What would you tell them? Get the fuck out of the club, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here, guys. I gotta start getting ready for work right now. I appreciate all the comments, all the love, support in this stream today, bro. It meant a lot. Um, Again, a few things I do want to touch on when it comes to this shit. I do have a goal to get monetized on YouTube and all that, and I really appreciate everybody that has been watching, subbing, liking, commenting, doing all that stuff. Just keep on doing that. I'm gonna get better with the streaming, get better with putting out actual videos again. Since I've gone into the streaming, I really haven't been wanting to make actual videos, but I'm gonna get back into doing that soon. I have a few things I want to do in just regular videos without being live. So yeah, with that, I'll probably have a preview tomorrow for Chelsea versus Port Vale. Again, Chelsea, don't find a fucking way to lose this shit, bro. This is your best chance to honestly salvage a season that has just gone in the fucking gutter. You find a way to lose this game, like, honestly, bro, I'm not watching another game this season, and there's still 2 more months left. Don't find a way to do it. But with that being said, guys, one last thing I do want to say here is um, with my hectic work schedule and everything, um, I'm gonna try to keep my streams in the morning, and then if I do like a nighttime stream, I'll be sure to update you guys on that. But my streams will generally be in the morning before I go to work because that's generally when all the news is flowing in. So I want to be able to cover it live and react with everybody watching. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna get out of here. Got work today. Happy April 2nd. Happy April. We are in the start of the spring season, and I can't wait to see what else this year brings. So I'm out. Stay happy, stay healthy. Go outside, touch some grass. My Chelsea fans out there, we have a few more days of our mental health being cool up until Port Vale come to the abridge. But yeah, I'm out, guys. I appreciate all the love, man. I'll see you guys later. I'll have some shorts uploaded too, probably throughout the day. So yeah, I'm out. Peace.